Graniola. This is the Graniola channel, and I'd like to tell you a folk tale. You may have heard that a scorpion can commit suicide by stinging itself. It turns out this is not the case, but a scorpion is a scary animal, and many people believe that if you dream of a red scorpion, it's a warning that danger does not only come from without, excessive aggression can make you your own enemy. This folktale, in which scorpions play a very major role, is called Breaking Wind. This is a tale of two brothers, and as usually happens in stories, one was handsome and honest and kind, while his elder, big brother, was nefarious, pugnacious, and self-centered. The latter had a bad-tempered wife who was nonetheless an excellent cook. The disagreeable couple had done quite well for themselves, and one of the principal reasons for this was that the wife, by all accounts, prepared the most delicious meals that anyone had ever tasted. And it was the custom in that place to dine together on the termination of a commercial deal. The people in their village weren't fools, and they all wanted to do business with the older brother in order to be invited to enjoy a gourmet meal afterwards. Now it happened, after being asked numerous times, the crabby wife of the firstborn brother wrote down her stuffed cabbage recipe and passed it to the second brother, who had recently been married to a young woman who was just learning how to cook. Anxious to master the fine art of meal preparation, the new bride cooked up a big pot of minced meat and rice rolled up in cabbage leaves on the very first day that she received the recipe. When the simmering time had been completed, the young homemaker sat down to sample her concoction. Just as she was finishing off the last bite of that first portion, the mayor of the town passed by her kitchen window. "You seem to be cooking stuffed cabbage," the important man politely acknowledged to her. "Yes," she answered just as politely. "Please come in and try some." He thanked her, entered the house, and sat down. The neophyte cook prepared a plate with her savory dish and turned to set it down on the table. As she bent slightly to place it in front of her guest, a horrible thing happened. She let out a very large fart. The girl's face turned bright red. "Oh my goodness, I'm terribly sorry. I am so embarrassed. I wish that the earth would swallow me up." And, this being a story, that was exactly what happened. In seconds, the earth had taken possession of her, and in a blink of an eye, she found herself in the underworld. The underworld was quite a cheery place. Earthy and good, it was filled with all sorts of creatures. Sitting at a square game table near the spot where the surprised female had landed was her fart. He was playing cards, and she recognized him immediately by the high-pitched squeaks he made. "Oh," she said, "here you are. I've ended up here because of you. But I'd like to go back to my own home." She said this very sweetly, not at all in an accusing tone some others might use in the same situation. The fart left out a series of toots which translated meant, "I'm surprised you want to leave so quickly. This is such an amusing place. But if you really want to leave, and you're only here because of me, I'll help you. And since you've been such a good sport about the whole thing, and I know you and your husband are very poor, once you have returned home, each time you speak, gold coins will come out of your mouth." And it happened just as he said it would. In a blink of an eye, she was back home, and when she tried to explain to her husband where she had gone, gold coins fell out of her mouth. The two of them had been happy before, but up until this point, they had been very poor but happy. Now they were happy and rich. It didn't take long before her brother-in-law heard the story of their newfound wealth. He went home, instructed his surly but talented wife to prepare a pot of stuffed cabbage leaves, and invited the mayor to lunch with them. The wife intended to help her husband in his scheme. When it came time to dish up the victuals, she did so, but passing gas at the same time wasn't as simple as she had expected it to be. She bent over, pulled in her stomach, gasped for air, made strange faces, but at first nothing happened. Her husband glared at her, and she knew he wanted her to keep trying. She did, and finally a small fart escaped her. Relieved, she said, "Oh, I'm sorry. What a rude thing I've just done. I'm so embarrassed I wish the earth would swallow me up." And as you might have guessed, the earth did swallow her up. The place that she was sucked down into was dark and dank. After a few moments, she realized that a small, crouching thing dressed in rags was her fart. Without even saying hello, she demanded that he send her back to Earth. He recognized her by her disagreeable voice and answered, "I would be very happy to. I had no desire to come down here. It's your fault I'm here anyway. If you hadn't been so aggressive in pushing me out, I wouldn't even be in this place, and I wouldn't have to be looking at you. Yes, shoo shoo. Get out of here. Go back home." In seconds, she was in front of her husband, who began berating her for leaving while the mayor was in their house. When she opened her mouth to explain, hundreds of scorpions flew out, viciously biting both of them, and she and her husband died horrible deaths within minutes of each other. This is a story that's told in Pakistan. Scorpions are found in most countries in the world, but in Pakistan, the uncontrolled trade of them for both legitimate and recreational drugs is of concern to people worried about the balance of the ecosystem there.